mentioned here. Okay, so let's start. So can you summarize, Anuj, last time?
Yes, sir.
Last time, what we did? Can you summarize?
So last time we studied about all type of storage services, that is EBS, EFS, and Glacier, all that.
Okay. So this time we'll run through quickly. We have some things which we had not done was in S3. There are different types of storage plans. So depending on which plan you take, you will get the speed of accessing the storage will vary, and the cost also will vary depending on which plan you take in S3. So that part was we had not done. So we'll look at that part and quickly we'll review this all this everything, whatever is there. So whenever we are talking about storage, there is this four storage types we are looking at: elastic block storage, simple storage service, elastic file system, simple storage service, Glacier. So elastic block storage is organized in terms of blocks. Simple storage service is organized in terms of buckets and objects. Elastic file system is organized in terms of directories and files. And simple storage service, Glacier is like an extension of simple storage service, except that it is used for archiving purpose or for long-term storage. So here you are seeing the core services over here. So we are seeing a VPC. So VPC is like a network, right? Whatever machines you create, whatever storage you create, everything has to be part of some network. It is part of some house, you can say, think of that way. So here you see compute service like EC2. Then there is storage service. You see the four things: S3, EBS, UFS, S3 Glacier. And database is we are looking at relational database like RDS and non-relational database like Amazon DynamoDB. On the right hand side you're seeing identity access management services, which is used to give permission. So permissions can be given through identity access management for any of the services in AWS, whether it is VPC, EC2, S3, EBS, for anything and everything identity access management can be applied. So as I told you, anything and everything like except for your VPC, which is your network devices, your machines, your databases, your any platform is built on the top of storage. It is like on the your machine cannot run without the hard disk. On the top of your hard disk, your operating system will run, your any other software will run. So storage, your database also needs a storage. So storage is the base for storing everything except for your network devices, which doesn't rely on this kind of storage devices. Network devices are just used to connect the systems. So they are like connectors. They are plug points. So through them you can connect a machine to EBS. You can connect and put the machine connect the machine to inside a particular network. So it is like connectors. So that is the difference you need to understand. But even if it is database also requires storage. The only difference is whether something. The only difference is whether who is creating the storage. If you are creating a EC2 won't work without the storage. So you have to specify a EBS storage for the EC2 to store your so that your operating system can run on EBS. EBS is like the hard disk you are providing to your EC2. So apart from S3 is optional, EFS is optional, S3 Glacier is optional, but EBS is required with EC2. EBS works with EC2 only. So if you sometimes you will create the machine, sometimes AWS will create the machine on your behalf. They'll say just use my platform. So and I will create all the the machine for you, I will create all the storage for you. So in that case it is managed AWS is managing everything for you, so it is called AWS managed. And serverless is an example of AWS managed also, because in serverless computing, when you have lambda functions you create, you are not creating any machine over there. You're just saying I have this function, there's an input parameter so and so, output parameter so and so, and it connects to the database and fetches the database and gives it to my website. So you write the function in Node.js and that's all. You don't create a machine for that. So that way, that's why it is called serverless, in the sense you are not creating the server. The server is managed and created by AWS only. So that whenever you hear the word serverless, remember AWS is managing the servers. You are not even creating one of the any of servers. So even in container technology, container is like a virtual machine. Now when we did virtual machine demo, we already had our hardware, right? So the machine was provided by us, and on the using that machine then we put our virtual machine on the top of it. But in case of serverless computing, AWS already automatically creates the server machine for you and automatically assigns the EBS for you. All that all that work is done automatically, so you don't have to do in case of serverless. So this is useful when let's say your company doesn't has the skill set to create, manage the server, but you still want to write a simple function, or you want to still provide a simple you want to create a website, but you don't know how to create a machine, you don't know how to create a network, you don't know how to create a storage. So in these cases serverless option will be the best, right? You don't know everything, but you just know how to write the code for the website, so you go for a serverless solution where machines are managed by the AWS and you are just working on the front end solution or the whatever the backend software that you're creating. So can you give me an example of a serverless solution which which creates a web server for you automatically and helps you create web application automatically? Can anybody tell me?
Sir, what was the question?
Okay, first tell me what do you understand by serverless? What is serverless means to you?
सर लाइक जैम्प वगैरह अपाचे वगैरह ऐसा है क्या वेब सर्वर?
नहीं, सर्वरलेस मतलब जैम्प, अभी जैम्प अपने एग्जांपल दिया ना, तो जैम्प में आपको वेब सर्वर इंस्टॉल करना पड़ेगा ना, ये स्टेप्स करना पड़ेगा ना, तभी जाके वो आप वेबसाइट क्रिएट कर सकते हो। उस पर आपको सर्वर मशीन प्रोवाइड करना पड़ेगा जिस पे वो वेब सर्वर आप इंस्टॉल करोगे। आपने जैम्प यूज़ किया है पहले?
यस सर, इन BSc।
हाँ, तो जैम्प आपने कैसे इंस्टॉल किया? आपने आपका खुद का मशीन था, आपने वेब सर्वर इंस्टॉल कैसे किया आपने वो पूरा?
वो सर जैम्प सर्वर इंस्टॉल करते सर।
हाँ, तो आपने सर्वर इंस्टॉल किया ना इस स्टेप। हाँ, तो ये पार्ट वो अभी अगर आप सोचो अभी आपको आता है सर्वर इंस्टॉल करना, लेकिन अगर नहीं आता तो आप क्या करते थे? तो आप डिपेंड करते थे ना इंजीनियर पे किसी,
सर
मेरे लिए वेब सर्वर जाके इंस्टॉल करो, बराबर है ना? Am I right?
यस सर।
Yeah, so in this case your engineers are like is like your AWS, so that is where so what you are trying to tell is AWS, you use your engineers, please create all that you're telling is I need a web server, you're all that you're telling I need a XAMPP server. आपका रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से आप इतना बोल रहे हो। अभी ये कौन सा मशीन पे क्रिएट करेंगे, कौन से मशीन पे इंस्टॉल होगा, उसका लिंक कैसे होगा, वो सब आपको पता नहीं, वो आपको लिंक दिया जाएगा एंड में, ऐसे है। तो AWS will go in and create the machine for you, allocate a machine, will install web server for you, will configure it for you, and then say this is the folder c:/web www, and this is where you come and install your your code, so your website code, what all comes in the website code, tell me what type of files comes in website code. Anyone? What type of files are used for creating websites?
HTML file.
Very good. So basically you need to create my.html or about.html, right? And what other files are there in website?
JavaScript.
JavaScript. So something like my.js files, right?
Yes, sir.
And what else?
JavaScript, CSS.
Very good. So these are the three main files that is supported by any website browser. Browser can understand HTML, JS and CSS. So when you are creating a website, all that you need to do is provide these files. You just need to provide this code. So this website may be running on your local machine, on your laptop. Let's say it's a laptop, your machine is there now. So you are running a website over here with using XAMPP, let's say over here, and you in that XAMPP website you have your HTML, you have your CSS, and you have your JS file. All this website is running. Now let's say you want to shift this website to cloud. Then what do? You go ahead and recreate the server and everything? That is going to be time consuming. That can be can delay. Like company may want to just shift quickly, may not want to handle too much of technical stuff, and that is the why you will go for a serverless solution. So in serverless solution, what you will do is, in case if you are going for a website server, then you have to look out for a service called Beanstalk. Okay, so Beanstalk server will ask you what type of server you want. So right now I do not know what all server it supports, but definitely Apache is supported. Something like Tomcat and everything, which is very famous. Apache, Tomcat, and everything, is very famous. So it will support that kind of web servers. And so all that it will do is, you have to say I want a Beanstalk service, I want Apache Tomcat installed on it, and then all that it will give you is your drive link or your file system. Even your file system and everything will be managed by AWS. Even you don't have to create your directories and everything. All that you will get a link. On this link you upload your file. So all that you do, you take your files and just upload it over here, and your website link will be provided to you. So your website link may look something which is like AWS type, something like www.aws static file .anuj dot something dot let's say com or something. And when you my website, so like that link AWS will provide you, and your website, whatever you are running locally on your laptop will start running on this website over here. So that is how you shift your website to AWS using the serverless solution. So can you tell me now what serverless means after explaining all this?
सर हम लोग को मतलब उसका सर्वर का बनाने का प्रॉब्लम नहीं रहेगा, अमेजोन विल हैंडल दैट. जैसे वर्डप्रेस भी वैसा ही है ना सर, हम अपना
very good, yeah, you are right,
रिक्वायरमेंट्स देते हैं and they create websites for us
very
according
good,
to our
yeah,
requirement.
that is an extremely good example. So WordPress is the entire platform is given ready to you. You're not creating the servers, all that. But in WordPress also there are technically sometimes let's say if you want to create a dynamic website, you need to know some technical configurations and everything. So it is a little bit complex, I will say, compared to the WordPress is very designed for for
E-commerce.
you can say e-commerce, a nice looking website with
Yes, sir.
components, so it is a focused area for websites only.
Yes, sir.
So but AWS is a generic cloud solution, in which one of the solution is your creating serverless web solutions. So you were right. So so they create the machines for you. The entire setup is there. All that you do is you just go ahead and say, I want this website, and you upload your files, and your website becomes alive. So that is what serverless means. It is hidden behind the servers are hidden behind. It is inside the system, but you cannot see it or access it directly. So what is another example of serverless? Um, for backend code, let's say you want to write a program which accesses the database and sends the data from one bucket to another bucket. So what is the serverless solution that you will use, where you don't have to create machines to this, where you don't have to install Java? Ideally, when you want to, let's say, write a Java code, first of all you need a machine, laptop again, right? Anytime do anything, you require a laptop, which is like your machine, or if it is not your physical machine, then you have to create a virtual machine. Okay, so once you have the machine, you install, let's say you want to write a program in Java, then you install Java, or if you want to write a program in Python, you install Python. Once you do this, then you write your program my.java over here, which will transfer the code. The program will basically transfer the code from, let's say, one bucket to another bucket, or one database to another database. It can do anything and everything. The code can do everything, right? So all this process is still you need to do. You need a machine, you need a platform, you need to install the platform, and then you go ahead and write the code. So if you want to avoid creating a machine, avoid installing the software, what serverless solution are you going to use to create a backend code? Like, you want only my.java to be shifted to the machine, and everything should be ready there. What solution are you going to, which serverless service are you going to use? Anyone?
Sir, no idea.
So here the answer is Lambda.
Yes, sir.
If it is web servers, websites, Beanstalk. If it is backend code, Lambda. Now, so Lambda can be used for writing a backend code. So in Lambda, you can you can configure Lambda whenever you create anything in Lambda. You have to need to tell what language you want to write a code in. So you can say, I want to write a code in Java. So what Lambda will do, it will automatically create a machine for you. It will automatically allocate the storage for you, and it will install automatically Java for you, and it will also tell this is a Java version. So if you had Java version 1.1 over here, you can mention that it is 1.1. If it is supporting, then definitely that version also will be available. All that then you need to do is take your my.java, whatever this file is, and upload it to Lambda and execute the lambda. So automatically everything will start running as if you are running on a machine, but your machine is not something that you have created. So in this case, your serverless Lambda service will be used to support backend code. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So since I'm talking about, this is all comes under compute service, but since I'm talking about serverless, let me just take it a little further. So let's say in your private company you are using containers. Anyone knows what containers are? Can anyone explain what is containers?
Sir, containers in the sense मतलब services.
नहीं, कंटेनर जब बोलते हैं टेक्नोलॉजी, तो क्या होता है कंटेनर, मतलब क्यों यूज़ करते हैं, क्या है ये चीज़, कभी यूज़ करना है कंटेनर्स? ओके, तो मैं और एक क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा हूँ, व्हाट इज़ वो वर्चुअल मशीन?
Sir, containers are used in data structures, algorithms.
No.
Why? Okay.
Yeah. Maybe you're talking about something else, but when I'm talking about containers,
Sir, Docker.
Docker is an example of container technology. But my question is, what is when you say container, what do you mean actually that? It's a good example. Docker is a good example. Even Kubernetes is an example of container technology. But what are containers and why people are using it? Okay, I've put a second question, right? What is a virtual machine according to you? What has come to your mind when you say I am creating a virtual machine? What comes to your mind? What do you foresee, or what do you visualize?
सर वर्चुअल मशीन में मतलब अब हम सिंगल ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम में मल्टीपल ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम अपने अकॉर्डिंग रखते हैं, दूसरा मशीन भी वर्चुअली रखते हैं और हम मेमोरी एलोकेट करते हैं वर्चुअली.
तो ये डेमो हमने किया था ना, मतलब तो थोड़ा एग्जांपल दोगे कैसे किया था हमने वर्चुअल मशीन क्रिएट? AWS पे वर्चुअल मशीन कैसे क्रिएट करते हैं?
सिंपल AWS पे तो EC2 मशीन दिया और डेटा उसके साथ.
वेरी गुड. ओके, सो EC2 इज एक्चुअली अ वर्चुअल मशीन ऑन द AWS, राइट?
सर
लोकली आपको लैपटॉप पे करना है तो कौन सा सॉफ्टवेयर यूज करोगे?
सर लोकली तो मतलब डिपेंड करता है, कोई ubuntu यूज करता है, कोई मतलब सॉफ्टवेयर तो ये यूज करते हैं अपना VMware, और उसके अंदर हमें मशीन्स कौन सी चाहिए वो अपने अकॉर्डिंग हम.
Okay, so VMware is a example of a software which lets you create virtual machine. But in our demo, in our MSc when we were studying, what software did we use that time? We used Virtualbox, right? That is the software we used. So here I have Virtualbox. So Oracle VM Virtualbox, right? So this is your software which lets you create virtual machine. So I can say create new machine over here, and I can give this machine some name over here, and I can say what operating system I want on this machine. So even though my laptop is running Microsoft Windows, I can create a virtual machine with Linux, and I can say this is a 64-bit, and click next, and I say I have actually 16 GB of memory over here, you can see. And after that 16 GB, whenever the operating system is running together with my laptop operating system, like this virtual machine will take 6284 MB, means 6 GB memory. And then I go ahead and I create, and then I need to it says create a virtual hard disk now. So the previous option was creating memory, like out of 16 GB memory I want to use 6 GB memory for my virtual machine. So you cannot exceed the size of the available memory. So whatever memory is available, only in that much limit you can create virtual machine. In the same way, when you go towards hard disk, it says minimum size is 12 GB, but you can change that also. So once you do that, it allocates a certain section of your hard disk and memory and processor, on which if you go ahead and create this, I don't want to create this now, but this is a machine which is already created. I've created a Kali Linux machine over here because I wanted to test cyber security things. So so on this, let's say storage. Do we have any? So storage, how much storage is Kali Linux have given? Virtual size 20 GB. What is the current size? Actually using 15 GB. So it can go up to 20 GB. That is the size I've given. Then apart from this, any other access, between shared folders is like I'm sharing some of my laptop folders with a virtual machine. So that way files can move between your physical machine and virtual machine. And so system, let's see, system, do we have? So it says processor, how many processors I have got? It says I can use up to 8 CPUs, means 8 cores. It depends on, so as I told you, your virtual machine will operate within the limits of your physical machine. If your physical machine is let's say dual core, or it is a quad core, or if there are 8 cores, so you can say one core should always be given to one machine. So if you have if you give one core to one machine, then at least 4 machines you can run on the single machine. So so it doesn't tell you about the So enable disk encryption means whatever virtual machine you have created, it is ultimately stored in a file. But if you want to make sure whenever it is stored on the hard disk, that particular file is encrypted, you need to check this box. So this is called disk encryption. And this is also an example of encryption at rest. So there are two types. So sorry, encrypting the data at rest. The other thing is encrypting the data, the data in transit, means while it is traveling on the network from one machine to another machine. So you're browsing, whenever you do your internet, data is traveling over the internet. So that is called data in transit. But whenever you're storing the data locally on your box, that is a data at rest. So the question is whether you want to store it in encrypted format or not. And if it is encrypted format, the only way you can decrypt it is using a key or a password over here. So it says give me a, so if you have a password, it is like you will be able to decrypt it. So here is where this folder is where my entire virtual machine will be stored as a single file. So that file can be encrypted using disk encryption option. So this is actually simulating a machine, because what is a machine ultimately? Ultimately a machine is like you having some memory, some processor, some hard disk, then on the top of that you have some operating system, and that operating system you are running some application. That is what machine is. So it is giving you all these facilities without changing anything in your laptop. Your laptop may be having, your physical machine may be having Windows, but on the top of Windows you can create multiple virtual machines. So here you can see I am creating 4 virtual machines, right? So in this way I don't need a separate computer to run Kali Linux. I don't need a separate computer to run Dockers. I don't need a separate machine to run my robotics machine. If my machine is has a very high capacity, very huge hard disk, and very huge memory, and many processors, then it can support as many virtual machines as much as so I can give, if there is 16 GB, let's say 1 TB hard disk, then I can give 40 GB to my Hadoop machine, 40 GB to my Kali Linux, 50 GB to my robotic machine, and maybe 100 GB to Dockers. So depending on the capacity of my physical machine, I can create as many virtual machines. So this is virtual. How do I do it? I use VirtualBox. In the same way you can use VMware, right? That is a good example. So VMware, you can create a virtual machine on your laptop, and this will create some VHD file, your my virtual machine .vhd file, and you can transport this virtual machine, this file to cloud also. It is as simple as just migrating it. And when you're migrating it, you can say you want to migrate this to either, if it is a local my virtual machine.vhd file, you can say I want to migrate to EC2, and then your EC2 will install whatever that same copy what you have on your local machine can be run on EC2 also. But the other way of doing this is using containers. Containers are also an example of, you can say, a virtual machine. So containers and virtual machine, there is a slight difference, but conceptually they are both running virtual machines, you can say. So when I say what is a container, the immediate word that should come to mind is it helps you create virtual machines, and whenever you say virtual machine means it is you're talking about an operating system. You're talking about the memory that is going to be used. You're talking about the storage, that amount of storage that is going to be used. You're talking about the platform that is installed on it, everything. It is like anything that any normal machine would have. So containers also are like virtual machines. So the thing is, even containers or virtual machine needs physical machine, no? So you need you need a physical machine. You need to install VMware, you need to install either VMware or Virtualbox, right? And then you need to configure this I showed you all the configuration steps right now to install a machine over here. I had to do all that, and after that only then in the final stage I need to either create a new machine file, or I need to provide an existing machine file like VSD file. So something like my machine.vsd. So I can create a virtual machine using an existing virtual machine file also, or I can create a brand new virtual machine file. So whatever machine I create, I need to if I want to install some operating system, then I need to give the ISO file, provide the operating system ISO file to install the operating system also on that. So the thing is, I still need to create a physical machine, means I need to still create the server. So so in the same way, containers also, if I want to create, I need a physical machine server, and I need to install Docker or Kubernetes on that. After that, I need to run some commands, and then I need to give them my container dot docker or something, that kind of file I need to give it to them. So only then this file will basically contain your operating system and all the requirements of your virtual machine. But I still need to have a physical machine, have the Docker software installed. Only after that I can go ahead and create containers in Dockers or Kubernetes. So that is what container means. The question is, what is the serverless solution on AWS to create containers? Means when you say serverless, what are we trying to say? I will not create a server, I will not install the software, I will just tell you I need a Docker or a Kubernetes. All that you need to do is, I am going to give you my file, my container or Docker. You take care of installing it on whatever machine you want. It should not it should install properly and it should run properly. And you're doing this because you don't have the skill set, you don't have your engineers, you want to do it fast. Serverless solution is the quickest way, where you're telling AWS you use you decide which hardware to use, you decide how to configure, and I will just give you little indications of what type of containers I have, how long it should be running, and those kind of parameters. But you manage the physical infrastructure or the virtual infrastructure, you manage. So the question is, what is the serverless solution to manage containers in AWS? That is the question. Anyone? Okay, the answer is Fargate. So Fargate is a serverless container solution. In this, you don't have to create any servers or something. All that you need to do is upload your my container.docker. So when you talking about Docker, this is a skill set which is very important, and you begin by installing Docker desktop. Let's say if you want to practice, install Docker desktop on your computer, and this will look like a virtual box, right? That's like I had. So there's a vulnerability they're talking about it. Okay, so here it says containers, right? So it is just like your there's I saw 4 machines on my VirtualBox. So here you're seeing containers also. So which container is running right now? Stellar dummy. So this Stellar dummy was this container was installed by I was doing some cryptocurrency testing. So when I installed the cryptocurrency software, they created some containers, and where they so in order to run their container, they are so this was okay. This is used by Pi currency actually. So if you notice, I have installed a Pinode software. So this is a Pinode software which is running on my computer. So how is Pinode setting up itself? Did it install an operating system? Did it install how does it work? It is working with the help of a container. So this is running on port number 31400. So through this, it is basically whenever we say like Pi node or any crypto node, basically any transaction that is happening, let's say you're sending money to somebody, or you're receiving money to somebody, so you can definitely, for example, I don't know whether in Pi utilities, not Pi utilities, is there a Pi browser? Let's see that. Okay, it will ask me for the password. So the thing is, let's say whatever Pi, let's say I'm earning right now, I'm earning this Pi, I want to send it to somebody, then I have to use a wallet or something to send the money. But who is actually receiving the request? The Pi node, the Pi node which is running on my, it can be running on my computer, it can be running on any computer. So, and that Pi node is how it is running. It is running inside a container over here. So using containers is like using a box. So and boxes are easy to keep it somewhere or shift it somewhere. So I can take this container and shift it somewhere else also, just like a virtual machine. So containers occupy less space compared to your virtual machine. So it occupies what? Less space, in the sense less storage space. So if your virtual machine is taking 3 GB, containers will not take 3 GB. It will probably take let's say 700 MB. So that is the difference. So if you can create 4 virtual machines using VirtualBox, maybe you can create 10 containers using Docker technology. So that is why people go for containers instead of softwares like VirtualBox and VMware, because containers they don't they are the storage size is very small, and because the storage size is very small and they do everything that the virtual machine does, the better option is to use containers instead of virtual machines. If you are having, so the advantage of using container is you can have as many more containers compared to more virtual machine. So containers use a technique called operating system virtualization, and virtual boxes use a technique called full virtualization or para virtualization. So both of them are little different in the sense what all resources they use. So when you say resources, it is like your hard disk, it is like your it is like your memory, it is like your processor, right? So that is where the containers come in. So if you ideally when you are creating the reason why you would go for containers is you would basically have a smaller virtual machine. So if you want to use a serverless solution for containers, you have to go with an option called Fargate. So I have mentioned about 3 serverless solutions right now. One is Beanstalk, second is Lambda, third is Fargate. So let's say you want to create a website. You want to create a you want to write a backend function, and you want to use a container. 1, 2, 3. This is a small quiz. So here you have lambda, option A, option B Fargate, option C beanstalk. Match the column. Tuba, can you answer this? Yeah. Tuba, you want to try match the column? And side
When
is your this is your type of application on left hand side, and for the application this is a serverless solution on AWS.
1C, 2B,
Sorry, one
3A.
one is what?
1 is C,
One is C.
2 is
Okay.
B, and 3 is A. 2B,
Two. Okay. Two is B.
3A.
Sorry. Two is
2 is baby for Bombay, Fargate, and 3 is
okay.
lambda.
Okay. And container is
Lambda?
okay. The first one is correct. Website, if you want to install, you use a beanstalk solution, serverless solution. Backend function, the answer is not correct. So
Oh, lambda services, right?
yeah, lambda service is used for creating
Yeah, backend, right?
backend function. For containers, what are you going to use?
Fargate.
Fargate. Very good. So this is the correct answer. So you have to okay. So can you explain what you understood by serverless?
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, this question is for Tuba. What did you understand by serverless?
Serverless does not have servers. It builds application without servers.
No, everything requires servers, but you don't create the server.
Virtual, yeah.
Yeah, you don't. No, it may be virtual server also, but you don't create. Like usually,
Okay.
when you create it, you have to go in the menu option. Like you have to click something, then the
Oh,
software
right.
starts. Right? You don't do
Yeah.
all the steps. In a serverless solution, you only upload your files.
Files, okay. Right, HTML files and all those like you said.
Right, you upload your
Right.
file. So if it is beanstalk, you will upload your .html file, .css file, and .js file. This is if it is a website. If it is Fargate, then you have to give a Docker image file, to Fargate. If it is Lambda, then you have to upload your code. So your code can be a .java file or .python file, or it can be even JS file. So JS file is also .js. So you can if it is React JS or something. So Lambda basically uses supports Java, Python, Node.js, and Go language. So only 4 or 5 languages it is using, and even .NET I think it is supporting right now with .NET Core. .NET Core it is supporting. So there's like 4 or 5 languages you can upload the code. So serverless means you don't create the machine or the server. The server is hidden for you. The server is created and managed by AWS for you. All that you do is upload your code and you run your program. This is useful when you don't have your technical team who knows how to create the server or configure, let's say you want to Netflix comes to you and says we want to run a video, okay, and that video is going to be advertised all over the world. Now what can go wrong? When you will say, yeah, I have my video file, but can your server manage the load of the entire world to watch that live show? The answer most likely will be no, because you will have to do a lot of work to make sure everybody can stream. The video streaming works perfectly without any single user in the world facing the problem. In that case, are you going to do the work of installing the machine, configuring the software, and looking out for bugs? That is going to be very time consuming. In that case, you will tell Netflix, yes, I will do it for you. We have a serverless solution for you. We will take your video and we will put it inside a Docker file, and that Docker file I will give it to Fargate. Now Fargate, what it will do, Fargate is very smart. Fargate can make multiple copies of your Docker image file. So it will 1,000 copies are running in India, 1,000 copies are running in America. Everybody is using the video. So you see the advantage of having it is not only your installation complexity, it is also your scalability. Like it should be able to scale. If there are more users, there should be multiple copies of the Docker image file running all over the place. If it is it is also addresses the issue of availability, right? It is available all over the world. Fargate will decide how to reach to different different countries also. That won't be totally true, but in the sense definitely, but in a single region Fargate will operate very smoothly, and it can create 1,000 Docker images file if there's a more load, so all that work is done by the serverless solution. So all that, what did you do? All that you did was create a Docker image file. So this is one skill you should learn. You should know how to create just like you know how to create a EC2 machine, you know how to create a virtual machine, you should know how to create a Docker image file also. So in that, so it is so I'll show you a little bit on this if it is if you want. Do you see an advantage of using serverless solution? So serverless solutions are quick, it is easy, it is expandable, it is reachable. So reachable in the sense it will always be available. So that is what available means, availability. It is expandable means it is scalability. And definitely it is quick and easy means it is as good as going on AWS, logging in and saying I want this service, that's all. So so this is where your cloud comes in. Cloud is definitely quick and easy.
सर वो कंटेनर में जो फाइल्स देनी है वो डॉकर ही रहनी चाहिए, मतलब डॉकर कंटेनर में डाल के देनी है, या वर्चुअल मशीन का जो होता है वो भी चलता है?
नहीं, वर्चुअल मशीन का फाइल .vsd फॉर्मेट में होता है. तो वो क्या होता है कि पहले डॉकर था नहीं वर्ल्ड में ना, वो टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं था. लेकिन क्या हो गया ना, ये जब आप वर्चुअल फाइल क्रिएट करते हो ना, तो मिनिमम जितना पहले तो आपको ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम इंस्टॉल करना पड़ेगा, बराबर है. और एक ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम अभी इतने बड़े हो गए कि जैसे 2 GB 3 GB से स्टार्ट होता है आपका एक ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम फाइल. सिर्फ अगर आप Ubuntu डाउनलोड करोगे ना तो 2 GB सॉरी 2 GB है क्या? हाँ, दो मतलब बहुत बड़ा फाइल है ना, बराबर है ना?
राइट सर।
अभी आपको सोचो 2 वर्चुअल मशीन रन करना है तो इसका फिर डबल हो जाएगा ना, मतलब आपको फिर 8 GB का हार्ड डिस्क चाहिए कम से कम।
यस सर।
हाँ, तो मतलब वर्चुअल मशीन का स्टोरेज का प्रॉब्लम बहुत मतलब वो फुल वर्चुअलाइजेशन टेक्निक करता है। तो आपका कुछ भी जैसे पहले वर्चुअलाइजेशन कैसे चलता था, एक फिजिकल मशीन, पहले आपको फिजिकल मशीन की ज़रूरत पड़ती है। तो उस पर आपका जैसे लैपटॉप होगा एक फिजिकल मशीन, उस पर आप अपना ओएस डालते हो, जो यूजुअली हमारे केस में ज़्यादातर विंडोज़ ही हमने इंस्टॉल किया है, तो विंडोज़ होता है। फिर इसके ऊपर हम एक वीएम मैनेजर डालते हैं, जैसे एग्जांपल हो गया वर्चुअल बॉक्स हो गया या VMware हो गया, इस पर हमको इंस्टॉल करना पड़ता है। इसके बाद आगे जाके हमें अपना मशीन क्रिएट करना पड़ता है। तो लिनक्स अगर बोलेंगे तो जैसे Ubuntu will occupy, you will need to download a ISO file to install on your virtual machine. So ये file itself will be 2 GB size or 2 something this. So अगर आपका physical machine is like let's say 1 TB, right? एंड या 500 GB जो भी है, तो और उसके ऊपर ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम डालोगे तो 1 TB में से आपका मतलब 2 GB तो चला गया। फिर बाद में आपका बाकी के जो सॉफ्टवेयर्स है, जो अपने आपके जैसे ब्राउज़र्स है, विंडोज़ ऑफिस है, वो सब इंस्टॉल करके आपका 400 GB स्टोरेज चला गया। तो टोटल मिला के अराउंड 402 GB तो चला ही गया। तो अभी आपके पास बचा कितना है? आपके पास बचा अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 600 GB, सॉरी 600 डिस्क। अभी तो अगर ये काफ़ी है तो ठीक है। अभी इस पर आपका एक वर्चुअल बॉक्स अगर 2 GB करता है, फिर उसके ऊपर अब ये यूबंटू के अंदर आपका सॉफ्टवेयर होगा जो लगभग 100 GB यूज़ करता है वो सॉफ्टवेयर यूबंटू। तो मतलब एक एक मशीन के लिए आपको 102 GB का स्पेस चाहिए। तो अगर ऐसा है तो कितना मशीन क्रिएट कर सकते हो वर्चुअल बॉक्स से आप, मुझे बोलो।
सर गॉट इट। मतलब मेरा पॉइंट ये था कि हम डायरेक्टली वर्चुअल मशीन का जो भी है वो फारगेट पे यूज कर सकते हैं क्या?
नहीं, डायरेक्टली वर्चुअल बॉक्स इज नॉट अ डॉकर टेक्नोलॉजी।
तो उन्हें सर उस पे जो इमेज फाइल है वो फारगेट सपोर्ट करता है क्या? ऐसा नहीं करता या
नहीं करता है।
ओके सर, वही था। तो मतलब
अब
डॉकर
मैं आपको अभी डॉकर कैसे चलता है वो भी समझाऊंगा, लेकिन ये जो मैं पूछ रहा हूँ आपको, वर्चुअल बॉक्स में एक मशीन आपका 100 GB ले रहा है लगभग, और आपके पास 600 GB बाकी है, तो कितना मशीन क्रिएट कर पाओगे आप एक मशीन फिजिकल मशीन में?
4-5 मैक्स।
हाँ, तो 6 6 मशीन क्रिएट कर सकते हो।
यस सर।
लेकिन क्या है ना कि अभी ये 6 मशीन कैन इट टेक केयर ऑफ 10,000 यूजर्स? लेट्स से दिस 6 machine is running 6 copies of your website. Yeah, how much this machine can how many people can visit each machine in a single time? Maybe 10,000. So maximum 60,000, not even 10,000, maybe 1,000 or something, or 2,000. So maximum 12,000 users can use your box. But what if it is not 12,000 users, it is 12 million users? आपको नेटफ्लिक्स ने आके बोला 12 million users are going to watch my live show, क्रिकेट मैच चल रहा है तो 12 million होगा, तो आपको काफ़ी होगा क्या? मतलब एक एक मशीन, मतलब पहले तो कितना साइज जा रहा है 100 GB। सो नाउ अभी टेक्नोलॉजी थोड़ा एडवांस हो गया। अभी सेम चीज़ लोग ऐसे कर रहे हैं, एक फिजिकल मशीन ये चीज़ सेम ही है। तो यार अभी डॉकर टेक्नोलॉजी थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन कर रहा हूँ मैं। सो अगेन इट इज़ 1 TB साइज आपका फिजिकल मशीन हार्ड डिस्क है, प्लस आपका OS भी सेम है। जैसे OS है आपका विंडोज़, तो विंडोज़ है तो विंडोज़ का कुछ आपका पूरा सॉफ्टवेयर मिला के 400 GB ऑलरेडी यूज़ किया है, तो बाकी कितना बचा? 600 GB। मतलब अभी सेम फिजिकल मशीन है, सेम कॉन्फ़िगरेशन है। तो अभी आप क्या करोगे, इस पर आप डॉकर इंस्टॉल करेंगे वर्चुअल बॉक्स के बदले। तो जो मेरा डॉकर डेस्कटॉप था वो मैंने इंस्टॉल किया। तो दिस विल टेक जो भी साइज़ है उसका, जैसे जितना वर्चुअल बॉक्स यूज़ करता है वैसे डॉकर डेस्कटॉप भी उतना, मे बी डॉकर थोड़ा ज़्यादा यूज़ करेगा क्योंकि वो थोड़ा रिफाइंड है, सो वो 1 GB यूज़ करता है। तो बचे अभी लगभग 599 GB। सो the thing is now you can instead of creating virtual machines in the VirtualBox, you're creating Docker images over here. ये फ़र्क है. तो डॉकर इमेज, फिर द क्वेश्चन इज डॉकर इमेज कम साइज में कैसे चलता है, उसको ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती है क्या? तो अगर हमें यूबंटू, मैं बोलता हूँ डॉकर इमेज में वो यूबंटू ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम पे रन करना है, और मुझे पता है यूबंटू इज़ टेकिंग हाउ मच साइज, इट इज़ टेकिंग मिनिमम 2 GB साइज. देन हाउ इज़ दिस साइज रिड्यूस्ड, वो कैसे करता है? तो बेसिकली Docker image is not going, you have to just tell Docker that you are using Ubuntu, और Ubuntu उसका एक स्पेशल छोटा इमेज फाइल रहता है which will be like 200 MB फाइल, ऐसा हो सकता है. तो instead of downloading 2 GB Ubuntu ISO file, what Docker is saying, you don't download that. I will download, when you say you want a Ubuntu image, I will give you a Ubuntu Docker image which is only of 200 MB. But how does this 2 GB functionality work in 200 MB? The thing is, Ubuntu is working with your local OS Windows operating system. अगर कुछ फाइल्स अपलोड करना है, भेजना है, तो वो खुद नहीं करता है, वो विंडोज़ को बोलता है. जो भी आपका फिजिकल मशीन का ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम है वो उसको बोलता है तू ये मेरा काम कर. Ubuntu खुद करने की कोशिश नहीं करता है. अभी ये राइट हैंड साइड पे VirtualBox, व्हेन वी आर यूजिंग अ Ubuntu इज डूइंग ऑल द वर्क. सो व्हेन Ubuntu इज डूइंग ऑल द वर्क मीन्स इट इज टेकिंग मोर प्रोसेसर टाइम, इट इज यूजिंग मोर स्टोरेज स्पेस, इट इज डबल द वर्क. विंडोज़ तो यूज़ ही नहीं कर रहा है. ये लेफ्ट हैंड राइट हैंड साइड के एग्जाम्पल्स में Windows is also an operating system. A Windows operating system can store files, can browse your website, can write, create text files. You can do anything and everything, delete the file, format the hard disk, right? A Windows operating system can do everything that a Ubuntu is doing, and the vice versa. But why, when somebody has to delete a file, then why Ubuntu has to do it? Why Windows is not doing it? So this is where the load is shared between your physical operating system and your Docker image. So the moment you give all the work to Windows, the advantage is not all the work is done by Ubuntu. Whatever can be done by Windows will be done by Windows. Now if you have 200 MB, my question to you, Anuj, is how many Docker images can you create on this physical machine?
सर 2 महीने कैलकुलेट करना पड़ेगा.
हाँ, तो बेसिकली 30 मशीन्स कम से कम तो हो ही जाएगी डॉकर इमेजेस, राइट? डॉकर मशीन्स.
यस सर.
तो ये डॉकर मशीन को हम कंटेनर्स बोलते हैं. एक मशीन हो गया आपका एक कंटेनर. तो ऐसे हो सकता है कि आपके पास तीन कंटेनर हो. एक में Ubuntu चल रहा है, दूसरे में आपका तो इस पे आपका वेबसाइट चल रहा है, और इस पे आपका डेटाबेस चल रहा है, और ये Ubuntu भी चल रहा है. तो बेसिकली अभी आपके पास आप अलग अलग सॉफ्टवेयर रन कर सकते हो अलग अलग इमेज यूज़ करके. इधर .NET चल रहा है आपका एक कंटेनर में, ऐसे. और अदर एग्जाम्पल कैन बी इधर आपका .java एप्लीकेशन चल रहा है. तो यू आर एबल टू ऑर्गेनाइज एंड सेपरेट आउट कि अगर आपको ये कंटेनर किधर शिफ्ट करना है इसका, तो आपको सिर्फ वो इमेज फाइल लेके दे देना है फारकेट पे. आपको पूरा का पूरा सॉफ्टवेयर 4 सॉफ्टवेयर किसी डॉकर टेक्नोलॉजी पे ट्रांसफ़र करना है, तो यू कैन यूज़ फारगेट. बट ऑल्सो इफ़ यू वांट टू मैन्युअली transfer this image, also you can do manual, but that is not serverless solution. So AWS has ECS solution which is called Elastic Container Service, and it is also got ECR service. So you need to know all this if you're giving your exams on AWS. Okay, Elastic Container Registry Service. So registry is like a folder, you know. So just like you saw 4 virtual machine, that is like your registry, right? On VirtualBox हमने देखा कि 4 machines उधर देखे हमने. So ECR, you can take this image and you can upload it to ECR registry over here. So let me use a different color. So you can put it on the ECR and ECS can pick the file from ECR over here and execute it for you.
सर
हाँ
इसके लिए फागेट यूज किया था ना, मतलब
हाँ, लेकिन ECS में क्या होता है, आपको मशीन बताना पड़ता है, क्रिएट करना पड़ता है ये स्टेप्स में. अगर आप मैन्युअली करते हो तो इधर क्रिएट करना पड़ता है, क्रिएट मशीन बाय योरसेल्फ. वो पूरा कॉन्फ़िगरेशन आपको खुद करना पड़ेगा अगर आप ECS और ECR यूज करते हो तो.
सो सर ECR इज मैंडेटरी राइट?
हाँ, ऑफ कोर्स ECR और ECS तो यूज होते ही है. मतलब दैट इज अ कंटेनर सॉल्यूशन फॉर, जस्ट लाइक EC2 इज अ सॉल्यूशन, वर्चुअल मशीन सॉल्यूशन फॉर AWS. ECR and ECS is a container solution for Docker and Kubernetes.
ओके सो
Docker basically. अगर ECS Docker होता है और EKS Kubernetes होता है, तो थर्ड सर्विस भी है. अगर आप Kubernetes टेक्नोलॉजी यूज कर रहे हो तो you have to use EKS. But these are manually, you have to create the machines, manually you have to configure, manually you have to give the image, you need to do all those steps just like you do in EC2. EC2 you create a machine, you have to manually tell what is, how much memory you want, how much what operating system you want, how much storage you want. After that you go ahead and install your operating system on that, right? So you need to do all that steps in ECS, ECR and EKS. Fargate is automatically managing things for you. ECR, ECS, EKS जो भी है वो मैनेज करेगा.
सो वी पुट द फाइल इन ECR राइट, इमेज फाइल?
वेरी करेक्ट, एग्जैक्टली.
ओके
डॉकर का भी खुद का एक रजिस्ट्री है. तो अगर आप इंटरनेट पे थोड़ा ढूंढ लोगे तो डॉकर का खुद का मतलब क्या है कि सम इमेजेस आर कॉमन, नो. लाइक आई वांट टू इंस्टॉल लेट्स से Ubuntu operating system. So there is a Docker registry. So it is quite possible your Docker image file may you can say I want so you can either say I want a registry, I want the Docker image on ECR, or I can also by default it will try to search for image file on your Docker registry. So, let us see, you know, since we are talking so much about this serverless containers, so let us look at how Docker image file looks like. At least means आप configure कैसे करते हो. तो sample so Docker technology is a very important skill if you want to create Docker. So all that you need to do to create a Docker image file is this. एक फाइल से, and what is there in this file? Can you read Anuj one line by line? This is the comment, the first comment line you forget.
From node colon 12 helpline run
Alpine.
API.
Hold on. So it says from node 12 Alpine. Okay. So so basically this is like your you know, you're saying मैं एक machine, I am trying to create a machine where the operating system is Alpine. This can be Ubuntu also, from Ubuntu. Okay, so that is what this first line is doing. Did you understand? So when you say from space Ubuntu, from space Windows, from space Mac operating system.
Sir, this format is JSON format, मतलब
No, this is not JSON format. This is Docker file format. Only you. These are the commands of Dockers: from, run, workdir, copy, run, cmd.
Okay, sir.
So when you're creating the machine, when you're what you're trying to tell Docker is, I need a machine. Now that machine you need to install an operating system. So what is that operating system? I've given here from. So what Docker does is it will try to see whether it is already installed. If not, it will try to search for node 12 Alpine Docker image file on some registry. By default, where it will go? It will go to Docker registry over here. See docs.docker.registry, maybe somewhere, you'll have to see where the registry is, or if you want to say you want a Ubuntu uh, Docker image, so you can get it from docker.com. See, docker.com Ubuntu. So Docker Hub is where all the files are stored. So you see there is an image file over here. So all these operating systems are there. Bionic is there. Versions of Ubuntu is there. So you can specify which version you want, and you can install. So you're not even downloading manually. You're just telling automatically. Internet is used. Definitely when it first time when you create when this Docker image is created, definitely it will take time. Second time it will not take time because it is already installed. So locally it will create a machine for you. What is the second? Can you read second command?
Run apk add no cache python to g++ make.
Can you tell me what is happening on this line? What it is trying to run or what it is trying to install?
Sir, it is trying to install Python apk.
Very good. And what is like G++? I don't know, but I am guessing what it is. But what is your guess? What is G++?
Sir, no idea.
Okay, it may be something like C++ or Go or whatever it can be. And make is like compiling or building your source file, whatever software you installed. Maybe it is an open source, so it is trying to create a source file, trying to compile it, for the and making it ready. So, but in short, the second command, first command is trying to install the operating system. The second command is trying to install the operating system, the Python software on the operating system. What is the third command doing? Read the third command.
Work directory, मतलब directory open कर रहा है sir, app directory.
This is like creating a directory.
Yes sir.
Okay, so how do you create a directory on Windows?
Make directory mkdir.
Yeah, you say make directory apps. This will create a directory, right? In the
Yes.
same way, when you want to create a directory, you say work dir/ap. Correct?
Yes sir.
Okay, what is the next command doing? Tell me.
Copy मतलब वो डायरेक्टरी को कॉपी पाथ कॉपी कर रहा है.
Okay, what is a working directory?
जिसमें मतलब करंटली फोल्डर ओपन है और
हाँ, तो करंटली ऐप फोल्डर ओपन है, मतलब इसका मतलब ये हो गया. तो ये डॉट का मतलब है मेरे लोकल बॉक्स पे जो भी मेरा करंट फोल्डर है उसका पूरा फाइल उठा के जो भी आपका डॉकर में जो करंट डायरेक्टरी है उस पे, मतलब मेरा अभी इसमें करंट डायरेक्टरी से यूजर्स अगर मैं इधर डॉट डाल दूँ, इसका ये मतलब है मेरे करंट फोल्डर में जो भी फाइल्स है उसको उठा के उधर डालो, और वो उधर जो डालता वो ये एक्चुअली डॉकर के अंदर जो करंट डायरेक्टरी है उसका ये मतलब हो गया. डॉकर के अंदर ऐप फोल्डर करेक्ट है, तो इसका मतलब है कि सी यूजर्स JDS से लेके ऐप फोल्डर में आप मेरे पूरे के पूरे फाइल्स डाल दो, तो
अपने लोकल सिस्टम से वहाँ पे फाइल प्लेस हो जाएगी.
हाँ, तो ये बेसिकली तुम्हारा पाइथन का प्रोग्राम होगा my.py my.java, क्योंकि अभी आपको पाइथन का प्रोग्राम रन करना है तो आपके खुद के प्रोग्राम्स हो गए ना.
राइट सर.
तो वो सब प्रोग्राम इधर अपलोड हो रहे हैं. और फिर नेक्स्ट कमांड देखोगे, नेक्स्ट कमांड क्या है? सॉरी एक मिनट.
रन यान इंस्टॉल
प्रोडक्शन है ना.
यस सर.
तो बेसिकली एक यान इज software you're using to within which your this program will run. So yarn is a separate utility, so you don't have to worry about that. And in the end, what are you trying to do? What is the last command?
cmd node source index.js.
So this command is same like typing node / src / index.js. ये इसका इक्विवेलेंट कोड है. ये कमांड क्या करता है मुझे बोलो.
ये सर नोड सॉफ्टवेयर होता है ना.
Node.js.
यस सर.
Node.js का कमांड है, जो भी Node.js का फाइल रन करना है आपको नोड से स्टार्ट करते हो.
यस सर.
अगर आप पाइथन का अगर कोई भी कोड रन करना चाहते हो तो पाइथन आप टाइप करते हो.
यस.
तो जावा का कोड टाइप करना है, तो जावा का कोड रन करना है तो आप बोलते हो my java.myjs. सिमिलरली Node.js का अगर रन करना है तो आपको node.index.js या जो भी आपका फाइल नेम वो ये करता है। तो अभी मुझे बोलो, इतना सब करने के बाद ये डॉकर फाइल करेगा क्या?
पहले तो सर जो हमारी मतलब लोकल डायरेक्टरी में फाइल्स है वो डॉकर पे अपलोड हो जाएगी और उसको बाद में
सॉरी, क्या करेंगे? पहले क्या करेंगे?
सर ये वर्क डायरेक्टरी ऐप जो है
नहीं, पहले ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम क्रिएट होगा।
हाँ सर वो समझ गया सर।
हाँ, अगर पहले बार कर रहे हो तो वो
हाँ सर
लगाएगा क्योंकि वो
फर्स्ट
डाउनलोड कर रहा है ना पूरे फाइल को। तो कुछ भी मशीन चलाने के लिए ये स्टेप्स हमेशा वो रिपीट करेगा। 1000 बार भी बोलोगे ना रिपीट करने को, वो यही कमांड्स रन करेगा।
सर
डॉकर इमेज फाइल इज नथिंग बट दिस सेट ऑफ कमांड्स।
यस सर
If you know how to write your Docker file, you know how to create a container. It is as simple as that.
तो फर्स्ट स्टेप में यहाँ पे सर नोड इंस्टॉल किया है हम लोग ने। सच कोई भी और भी ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम या इंस्टॉल कर सकते हैं राइट।
बराबर है।
फिर उसके बाद उसको रन किया है और उसमें अपन ने पाइथन इंस्टॉल किया।
बराबर।
फिर हम अपने डायरेक्टरी में आए और उसका पाथ कॉपी किया और उसको मतलब डॉकर के डायरेक्टरी में ये किया।
तो एंड में क्या हो रहा है फिर? जो भी आपने इंस्टॉल किया है वो वेबसाइट और रन कर रहा है index.js, देखा आपने?
राइट सर।
तो मतलब अगर मैं ये डॉकर कंटेनर, पहले तो डॉकर कंटेनर मुझे वो डॉकर डेस्कटॉप के अंदर दिख जाएगा, वो इधर दिख जाएगा वो एंट्री जो भी नाम का है, और वो मुझे बताएगा कि इट इज़ रनिंग, इट इज़ स्टॉप्ड। अगर मुझे, और फिर वो जब तक वो रन हो रहा है मेरा वेबसाइट एक्सेसिबल रहेगा। वेबसाइट जैसे एक्सेसिबल होगा लोकल होस्ट पे, तो ऐसे अगर मैं टाइप कर दूँ लोकल होस्ट पोर्ट नंबर, अगर पोर्ट नंबर 3000 पे रन हो रहा है और index.js है, तो ये मेरा वेबसाइट इधर चलना चाहिए। लेकिन वेबसाइट किधर रन हो रहा है? कंटेनर के अंदर। और कंटेनर किधर रन हो रहा है? डॉकर के अंदर। समझ में आ गई आपको बात?
यस सर। बट ये सर जो जेएस पे किया था ना मैं, तो डायरेक्ट इधर हो रहा था रन, ये http localhost 3000 index.js, तो कोई भी जेएस फाइल यहाँ पे ऐसा रन हो रहा था। उसके लिए लाइव सर्वर वो एक्सटेंशन डाल के किया था मैंने विजुअल।
ओके, ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम। तो अभी आपको सर्वरलेस कंटेनर्स, having getting some idea?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is your running containers, but these are your images.
सर।
एक इमेज अपलोड हो गया है, तो अगर मुझे अपलोड करना है तो मैं रिमोट रिपोजिटरी, ये लोकल मेरे बॉक्स पे है, रिमोट इंटरनेट से मेरे को कुछ डाउनलोड करना है तो मैं वो भी इमेजेस डाउनलोड कर सकता है। ऐसे हो सकता है ना कि किसी ने तैयार करके रखा होगा, आपको इंस्टॉल करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि किसी को भी डेटाबेस इंस्टॉल करना पड़ता है, वेब सर्वर इंस्टॉल करना पड़ता है, फाइल सर्वर इंस्टॉल करना पड़ता है, सबका एक इमेजेस है। तो अब इसको जो भी इमेज चाहिए वो आप डाउनलोड करो और यूज़ करो।
बाद में यही इमेज हम यूज करेंगे ना सर फारगेट, मतलब AWS में डालने के लिए जो अभी आपने
ये इमेज आपने पूछा था ना कि मैं वर्चुअल मशीन का मैं इमेज मैं फाइल अपलोड कर सकता हूँ, तो उधर मैंने नो बोला था। ये इमेज आप उठा के इसी आर्क के अंदर डाल सकते हो, ये इमेज उठा के फारगेट को दे सकते हो।
ओके सर।
तो ये सेम जो इधर चलता है उधर भी चल जाएगा आपका।
ओके सर।
तो कंटेनर इज वेरी पोर्टेबल, कंटेनर इज वेरी स्मॉल compared to your virtual machines, and container is scalable. You know, container if you use Kubernetes and container you can Kubernetes क्या करता है basically, it is an expert of scaling। एक का 1000 कॉपी बनाना है 100 मशीन्स पे, तो तभी जाके आप Kubernetes यूज़ करोगे। Kubernetes इंटरनली डॉकर यूज़ कर सकता है। Docker is a container technology, but Kubernetes is a container orchestration technology. आप रिपीट करोगे? Docker is a container technology. It is used to create container, run container. Kubernetes is a container orchestration technology. मतलब एक कंटेनर का 1000 कॉपी बनाना है, 100 जगह पे डालना है, 100 मशीन्स पे डालना है, तो आप Kubernetes यूज़ करोगे।
मतलब सर Kubernetes relies on Docker, ऐसा है?
हाँ, मतलब यू कैन यूज़ डॉकर इमेजेस इन Kubernetes, बट Kubernetes मुझे लगता है उसका खुद का भी एक इमेज फाइल आप क्रिएट कर सकते हो। जैसे आपने कोड डॉकर फाइल में क्रिएट किया, तो आई एम नॉट वेरी श्योर अबाउट दिस, आई एम नॉट वर्क टू मच इन दिस, बट द आइडिया इज क्या है ना, डॉकर भी उसका इट इज स्लोली एडवांसिंग इट्स कैपेबिलिटीज। जो क्यूबरनेट्स कर पा रहा है वो अभी डॉकर भी कर पा रहा है। तो डॉकर में ऐसी चीज़ है कुछ डॉकर कंपोज करके। तो डॉकर कंपोज इज अ सिमुलेशन, इट इज सिमिलर लाइक क्यूबरनेट्स ऑर्केस्ट्रेशन। But did you understand the difference between what is container orchestration?
Yes, sir. Yes, I got that.
So basically, these technologies are trying to make your life easy. It is trying to help you in, it is not only trying to help you create websites. That is one part of the problem. But having this website hosted in so many places and to do it in a simple way, that is why you need to know the technology like Docker, Kubernetes. So just knowing the React.js is not enough. If you are, if you are a administrator, network, security person, then definitely container Docker technology is important to know.
सर फॉर सिंपल वेबसाइट्स हम लोग को ये मतलब यूज नहीं करना होता होगा ना फारगेट?
नहीं, यूज नहीं करने की जरूरत है।
उसमें कुछ मतलब
फारगेट आप तभी यूज करोगे जब आपको लाइफ ऑटोमेट करना है, आपके रोज बहुत सारे डेवलपर्स है, बहुत सारे कोड है, कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी अगर बढ़ गया ना तो तभी जाके ये आप सर्वरलेस सॉल्यूशन पे जाओ। कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी नहीं है तो एक सिंपल सा मशीन क्रिएट करो, उस पर कोड भी इंस्टॉल करो, छोटा सा वेबसाइट रन करो।
यस सर।
लेकिन अगर आपको मैनेज नहीं करना है क्योंकि कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी बढ़ गया है, अभी आप किसी कंपनी में जाते हो, एक बैंक ऑफ सोच लो बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, मतलब टुमारो आपको पूछा जाएगा ना, मतलब आप एक कंपनी में जाओगे, इंटरव्यू में जा रहे हो तो वो एक कंपनी होगा, वो छोटा कंपनी तो नहीं होगा ना, उसका कंपनी का कुछ साइज होगा 10-100 लोग, 1000 लोग, बराबर है ना। अभी किसी ने बोला अनुज व्हाट इज द हाउ विल यू क्रिएट व्हाट इज अ वेबसाइट आर्किटेक्चर यू आर गोइंग टू यूज। तो पहले तो आप वेबसाइट कैसे क्रिएट करना है उसका एक एग्जांपल दोगे, तो आप बोलोगे आई एम गोइंग टू यूज अ 3-tier एप्लीकेशन वेयर आई हैव अ वेब सर्वर, I have a database and I have a browser. So my web server will run .html file, .gss file, .css file. My database will run MySQL database and browser will access it. This is one part of the solution. But अगर आप थोड़ा impress करना चाहते हो आगे वाले को तो आप क्या बोलोगे, then I will create a container. If I want to scale this website for 1 million users, I am going to use a web server which I am going to run in container number 1. Then I am going to create a database which is going to run in container number 2. And browser is definitely, you don't have to install, the user is using it to access. So, and then I am going to use Docker technology or Kubernetes technology to scale my website across the world. And this Kubernetes technology I am going to implement on cloud because cloud is cheaper and I don't have to buy the machine, so it is cheaper way to install a scalable application very quickly across the world. So this is how I am going to provide, this is what is going to be my website architecture solution. So this is more impressive, right?
Yes sir.
तो आपने अभी टोटल सॉल्यूशन दिया है, छोटा एक पार्ट नहीं बोला कि वेब अगर आपको इसका नॉलेज नहीं था तो आप बोलते थे आई एम गोइंग टू यूज React.js, आई एम गोइंग टू यूज Node.js। तो आपने सिर्फ ये वेब सर्वर पे जो एक वेबसाइट का फाइल है आप बस उसी पार्ट के बारे में बोलते हैं कि React.js आप फाइल कैसे लिखना है, बस आपको उतना ही आता है, उससे ज़्यादा कुछ आता नहीं है फिर। लेकिन एक कंपनी को अगर आप बोलोगे, ऐसे बोलोगे तो कंपनी बोलेगा अरे अनुज नोज, तो आपको पूछा जाएगा डू यू नो React.js ऑल्सो अनुज, यू विल से यस आई नो React.js, डू यू नो MySQL, यस, यू नो हैव यू ट्राइड Docker, यस, यू आर इन, देन यू विल पास द इंटरव्यू। बिकॉज एक बिजनेस चलाने के लिए सिर्फ React.js पे नहीं चलता है, बिजनेस लोगों से जुड़ के चलता है, जिसमें 1000 लोग भी हो सकते हैं, 10,000 लोग भी हो सकते हैं। आप अपना स्किल्स मतलब सॉल्यूशन ऐसा दो कि जो कंप्लीट हो। वैसे तो मे बी आपसे यू मे जस्ट बी अ सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर इन द कंपनी, बट नॉट एवरीबडी नोज अबाउट डॉकर, Not everybody knows about container. Not everybody knows about this website architecture. This is where you tell, can I give a suggestion? I am aware about this container technology. It doesn't matter what role you are. You can give your ideas if you understand things. And the moment you give ideas, people will get impressed. You will get promoted. You will learn more. You will get a better hands-on experience, right? That is how you grow very fast inside a company. You suggest your ideas, but you cannot suggest ideas if you do not understand all the pieces of the puzzle. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So अगर इंटरव्यू में ऐसे कुछ पूछा जाएगा ना तो बीच में एक डॉकर का लाइन डाल देना, क्यूबरनेट्स का लाइन डाल देना, ठीक है?
ओके सर, श्योर।
थोड़ा इम्प्रेस करने के लिए।
यस सर।
तो फिर जॉब आपका है। Okay. So today I thought I'll speak on storage, but we just working on this one thing. Tuba, was it useful session today? Did you learn something new?
Yes, sir. All the Docker and everything you spoke about was new for me.
Okay. So Docker and Kubernetes is something you have to learn, okay, for your field, okay. It is one of the important technology also, apart
Okay.
from networks. So how containers are created, how
Industry-wise,
so
these are working, Docker and Kubernetes. Industry-wise, Docker and Kubernetes are working. I think only Google uses it.
no, Docker is a technology everybody uses. Docker and Kubernetes is available for everyone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Because I was Googling once for this, so I heard only
yeah,
Google people use that a lot. So.
yeah. It may have been Google may have been involved in creating some of the softwares that may be there, but it is available for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, and Docker is more commercialized in the sense if you're using in companies, then you have to pay the license fee. But Kubernetes is free.
Okay.
Yeah, so companies what they do, they instead of using Docker, they straight away go for Kubernetes. But Kubernetes sometimes, let's say if you're going a company, they're already using Docker, then Kubernetes also supports Docker images. So, but as a platform, most of the people in the world, or most of the companies in the world, they use Kubernetes because Kubernetes is free. Kubernetes supports Dockers, and if there is an existing company, if there is a company already using Docker, it is you can port or you can transfer all that code into all that images into Kubernetes also. And Kubernetes you can implement in if you have Kubernetes images also or Docker images, you can upload it to AWS cloud using ECS service or EKS service, or you can straight away go with Fargate solution.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
On your mind?
No, sir, not right now.
Okay.
I'll review it and then I'll get back to you.
Okay. Anuj, any questions? Was it useful? Did you learn something?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Nikita, are you there?
Sir, she is not there.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so I will stop the recording. And,